welcome. Welcome back. Sorry, I was like, what are we seeing in the background here? And I realized it's just the window. I thought that maybe these are my photo lights back here, and I thought maybe they were on, but it's just the window. So here we go. Hi, it's been a good week, I think, since I've last been live. Last week was a little bit turbulent. It was my first week at my new job. I have a new side gig at a store in town as just like a retail associate, but so I worked 2 days there last week, and that was exhausting. I'm not used to standing and walking and being friendly for 6 hours. And there's literally no sitting, so it's just standing for 6 hours. So I was pretty pooped the next day each time, and so but it's fine. I'm having fun. I'm really enjoying doing that, and so that's great. I still enjoy my jewelry too, so we're doing both now, which is kind of interesting, and it'll be a little while until I'm in a groove. So last time I streamed, unfortunately, my streaming software that I use, like, something wasn't right, and it like completely got the whole audio and video out of sync. So the replay was completely useless, which is a bummer because I made a ring from scratch during that stream, and no one gets to see it. So this was the ring I made. I haven't oxidized it yet, but really loved how that turned out. It's fully woven, it's adjustable to an extent, and it's this fun shape. Originally, I'd been thinking about doing something similar to this, where I have these little granules that are fused to the weave. But I'm thinking for this particular one, I'm going to not do that. I think I'm just going to leave it as is. But I want to make a few more in this same style, and I'm hoping some of them will get some granules like this one, and then we can also make a few like this. And I want to make some more earrings, so there's a lot that I want to just sort of add into this collection. So this is an example for an earring in this style, and I have others too. And I can't, there was a stopper on there that just fell out because I just pulled it out. I can't take full credit for the idea. The design idea I got from a tutorial from Sarah Thompson. You should check her out. She does wonderful, like really creative, beautiful wire work, mostly with weaving, and she's gotten 2 books out. I think one is called Woven in Wire. That's her sort of newer one that I have the print version for. The other one I have as a Kindle version, and I'm trying to figure out, it's like, I don't remember, it's like wire weaving art jewelry or something like that. But Sarah Thompson, she's awesome, and she has an Etsy store with like PDF tutorials as well. And from there I got her, I think she called it the tidal wave bracelet, and that's where I got this idea from. So this is essentially like a small version of that bracelet, but I've been starting to put it into like, other earring now, into like earrings, and I'm starting to make different shapes and such. So pretty fun. And so I'm basically just taking that technique of fusing the granules to the weave and making different styles and pieces out of it, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. So this is the ring that I made last time, and there's a few things that I want to do differently. Like, I don't want as big of gaps on there. This one's fine. This one's more than I want. Like, it's just too wide for my taste, and then overall it had gotten shorter than I wanted it to be. So I want it to be longer, and potentially just wrap just a little bit more. And also I would like to wear it on my index finger, but I can't. It's too small. I could technically make it bigger, but then they wouldn't overlap anymore, and I don't think that would look good. I can wear it on my ring finger just fine, but I kind of want to make it bigger. And then maybe eventually we'll make a big version and make a bracelet out of it, a bangle, but I'm not sure I want to do that yet. We'll see. So we'll start with that and see how far we get. And then from there, maybe we'll make some more earrings. If you're here, if you're watching live, you're welcome to send a message in the chat. I have the chat open and watching. So if you want to rather see earrings than a ring or something like that, just let me know and we'll do that. I've had some ideas of like maybe putting like initials on here as well and stuff like that. So I'm playing and figuring out designs. With this sort of organic shaping, I feel it's much easier to just do it and go from there. So that's what I'm doing. And I have no idea. I don't remember what base wire I used. I think 18 gauge, but let's double check. This is a wire gauge measuring tool. Very helpful to have around. Yeah, that's an 18. Yeah, 18. All right, 18 gauge. What do we have? 18 gauge. Wow. Well, I was lucky. Grabbed that first thing. So I use sterling silver base wire. This is 18 gauge from Rio Grande. And I fully don't remember what I used last time in terms of length. I think I did. It's really annoying because I turned over this mat from this had like on the other side is like a gray, like a light gray. And I turned it over to have the black background because it's a little bit better for contrast for streaming. But this is in centimeters and the other side's in inches, and so now I'm like all confused. So it's like I might have to turn it back just from a practicality standpoint because I can't really do this. All right. Well, so one box is 2 inches. Not quite, but close enough for my measurements. And if I wanted to get a size 11, approximately, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half, 6, say 7 squares. I think one of them is a centimeter. Oh, I can see it down here. Yeah, that's 1 square is a centimeter, so 7 centimeters. So I double that, and then I need to add some because I balled the ends, which means I melt them with a torch, and that takes about 1/4 of an inch or so, approximately. I'm wondering how much that matches. So 1 centimeter is about 3/8 of an inch. Okay, that's probably good. So we'll just add an extra centimeter or so. So what makes that 14, 16? And I'm gonna give it a little extra for good measure because that's that like overlap that I was missing last time. So we'll make it 22. Yeah, I think that'll be good. 22 squares. So 22 centimeters, I guess. There you go. This time I'm writing this down so I don't forget. Just so I know next time, because it's nice to remember things. I have this piece of white paper because sometimes it's easier to see, but I just used it for notes as well. Okay, so fold this in half and then we'll ball the ends. I don't want it to be perfectly centered because I want it to sort of one be a little longer than the other, like I did here. So we'll go with that. Okay, what did I say? 22. What's half of 22? 11. So 11 would be half, and I'm gonna go just down like half of a square. So and then if this has to be exact, I'm literally just mostly guessing. And then let me move my camera over a little bit. You know, it's like annoying because it's right in front of my face. But you know what? That's just what it is. That is what my setup is right now. And then from here, this looks pretty good in terms of how that matches. And when we do the balling, we can do a little bit more adjusting, but I want to shape it first, and then I can do the balls much more easily. Last time I did the balls first, and then I had to redo them twice because it didn't work out, so I decided doing the balling after I'm done shaping is easier. So I want to start by actually going in and then back out, so like a curve like that way. And then you can do these with your fingers, or sometimes I use like some pliers depending on how I want to do it. I kind of go back and forth, and you see how I like sort of didn't make a very pointy tip here. I did not do that on purpose, but I kind of like it, so we'll go from it. We'll take it. And then yeah, from here it's really just sort of making sure it's sort of organic and interesting and not too like uniform, which that's what I struggle with a lot of times, is that my shapes end up being too uniform and I hate it. And see, I don't necessarily want it to be like going in the same direction, so we're gonna have to work on that a little bit. I do like it when they come close on the occasion and sort of meet. It makes it a bit more interesting. That's what we'll do right there. I want them to be meeting right there. Okay. This is taking up a good chunk of concentration, actually, which is why I haven't been talking so much, but, you know. This is where I'm at. And again, it's all freeform. Oh, I got someone in the chat. Hello, Total Sapphic Panic. Oh, fantastic. Well, that's great to hear. They're saying that they have some wire pieces already and they're looking to potentially get some more. And so they saw my stream and are interested in seeing how the pieces are made. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you. So glad you're here. I always show a lot of like sort of quick, short process videos on my Instagram pages. They're much more fast paced. But if you like the slow of Twitch, this is perfect. You know, things aren't getting fully done and everything's a little slow paced, but you know, I feel in a fast paced internet world that we're living in, that's sometimes kind of nice to not have everything go so fast. All right, so I'm making a ring. I don't know how long you've been here, but I'm working on making a ring that's sort of similar to this, sort of like a adjustable wraparound ring. And I haven't decided yet if I want to add some granules, kind of like what I've done here, or not. And as you can see, this isn't oxidized, so normally it would be colored more like this, which like lets the wire work shine much more. That's so true. They're saying that chatting is nice too on an online stream, not just the sort of slower pace. It's nice to find other crafters to chat with, and that is so, so true. That's one of the reasons I've started, and I've just started recently doing the streaming. And one of the reasons why is because I've been sort of just by myself all the time, and it's kind of lonely. You know, you sit here all day long and with no one to talk to while you do your work, and it's kind of annoying. So, yeah. So as you can see, even though we started fairly even, they end up not even because of the different curves. So now I'm gonna go ahead and ball the ends here into I'm gonna ball the ends here, so with that I can adjust the length a little bit. I'm actually not talking to anybody. I'm just saying what you're saying in the chat out loud, because I will be posting the replay of the video to my YouTube channel, so it's a little bit easier for people to know. The person in the chat was asking who I'm talking to, who's not in the chat. There's no one here, it's just me and the person in the chat, you. But yeah, so the video will be posted afterwards on YouTube, and that. And yeah, the suggestion of having an on-screen chat is definitely good. I'm still starting out, and my digital setup is pretty simple. I've tried using different softwares, and I'm figuring things out. And the chat in the chat widget is just not something I have focused on yet, because so far there hasn't been a lot of chatting. So but it's so true. Having an on-screen chat is nice for people to follow along, so I don't have to repeat it. But yeah, all right. I might end up adjusting the curve down here a little bit more. I don't want it to end open like this, but since I have to fire this up right now, I'm gonna actually leave it open so I can do that. And I'm gonna move my camera over there so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, it's all gonna be upside down. We'll change that in a second. Hold on. I think. No, that didn't help, did it? Let's do that. Okay, let's see. This one? Ah, that's better, isn't it? It's not ideal. I technically probably would need another camera. Oh, do you see that pee stain my dog left me? Great. Okay. This is my solder setup. So I have some other earrings here that I haven't soldered yet. Need to solder the rings on. And then for this setup, I always just use the small torch, just a burner. I have an actual torch too, but for the quick granulating of just 2 wires, it's much easier to just use the simple burner. And hair out of the way, don't forget. Okay. Can you still see that? Yeah. I like going upside down because the silver tends to droop a little bit. This way I can control the direction it falls into a little bit better. And I'm pretty sure I'll have to go again, but I just want to, yeah, so the longer one is still very, very long. So I'm going to see that I can shorten that off a little bit. Basically by just making that ball bigger. I could, in theory, cut off some, but this is a fun way to do it too. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I think that's good. And then I'm gonna move this one back. I have a pickle pot standing right here, so in a moment I will pickle it. There we go. Pickling will remove the fire scale, which is what the wire being so black. Let me actually flip the camera back. There we go. And I actually like it that it's a little extra long, because I can do some fun stuff like this and give it a little bit of a, I guess, sneakier look. I like it. And then I'm also seeing that I can do a little bit of an extra bend right there, and it's starting to not lay flat, so I can feel in my hands it's wanting to go places. So here we go. This is what I'm going to leave it at. I'm going to have to probably do a little adjusting as I get my weaving down to the end anyway. So as I weave it together, it gets pulled together. So let's pickle this. It's going to take a few minutes. And while that's pickling, I'm going to read what you said here in the chat. So they're saying that they have already some ear cuffs and wire and are looking to get a choker. I have never actually done a choker, nor have I done wire crochet. Don't love it, but that's awesome that there's all these different styles and techniques out there. And then I love labradorite. Labradorite is my favorite, one of my favorites. I think my top three are labradorite, moonstone, and opal, with turquoise being like technically right up in there too. So those are my favorite stones, but I also actually just enjoy working with just the wire and just the metal, so that's fun too. While that's pickling, I'm gonna get some weaving wire ready, and I'm thinking I might do 30 gauge for this one. So I like to weave with a very fine wire, and I don't know if you can tell the difference on the camera, but this one's woven with 28 gauge and this one's woven with 30 gauge, and you can kind of see it. And I am thinking for this ring, I'm gonna go with 30. 30 takes longer, but it's also just fun. So let's see what I have. Oh yeah, Australian opals specifically are so pretty. I don't know how to pronounce it right. Wello, I don't know. Beautiful stones, but so expensive. I have a lot of Ethiopian opals. They're a little bit more affordable, but yeah, still very expensive. But it's my birthstone. It's the October birthstone, and it also just is so pretty. I love sparkles. If you ever want to see my opal collection, let me know. I have way too many. I just have small ones because they are easier to afford. But I'm just looking at what I have spooled, and I'm a little worried that this isn't going to be enough, because it is a pretty long piece, but this is 30 gauge. But I think I might just spool up a little bit more on another one, because this isn't gonna. This is 28, I think. I'm reaching for my wire gauge measure thing again, just to make sure. Wait, where are we? 28. Oh yeah, no, it's 28. No, wait. It's 30. Never mind. Still, it's not enough on the spool. These are called bobbins. They're Komihimu bobbins that I love using for my weaving wire. Here's my 30 gauge. And I just use those to spool the wire on. Getting an empty one from down there. And we'll do that real quick while the base is pickling. some fun ways to do this. With if you're spooling a lot, you can use a drill, go real fast. But since I'm only doing the one, I think it's fine like this. So where in Australia are you from? And what time is it there now? This is probably a more decent time for you to watch this than for my fellow Americans, because it's like 10:30 in the morning. And you know, this is when I work on my business and when I can do the streaming. Evenings are rough for me. Any of those work? From, raised, in, or going is the question. It sounds like you're moving around. I have never been to Australia, so I don't know my way around well anyway. Probably won't know most of the places. It's on my bucket list, but you know, it's far away. Far away. I'm actually originally from Germany. And I've moved to California in 2012. So what is it now? 2023, so 11 years ago. Let me go check on my pickle pot. I'll be right back. Gonna take another moment. The pickle is basically like an acidic solution and it works better when it's warm, but I didn't turn on my pickle pot until I started making the actual granules, so it's gonna just take a few minutes. It's fine. Is there wildfires going on in Tasmania right now? Is that why you're saying you're going to Sydney? I don't know. There's just so much craziness happening everywhere. I'm not up to snuff. But I'm sorry to hear that you have to flee and move to another place. Alrighty. I mentioned earlier that I'm thinking about adding initials. Let me see, where's my box? I just redid some of my setup here. So now I'm like, where did stuff go? So I tend to try to reuse all of my silver scraps. So I could make like little spots with whatever on it, really, even smaller than that, and add it on there. That would be kind of fun. A little flower. Check this out. Ooh, I like the flower. It's kind of a fun little add-on. Oh no, can't see that, can you? It's a small little silver flower. Ah! We're switching to German now. I love it. Kaffeezeit. So are you like a day and a half ahead of me? So is it like tomorrow where you are? I think it's tomorrow in Australia. Oh my goodness. Time. In California, we're always one of the last. Anyway, so that's sort of I'm thinking this one is obviously too big for this particular ring, but I can make them smaller. Or alternatively, as I did here, I could just add some little granules. Ooh, these are brass, so that's fun. But I don't know if I want to do that. It's going to be super difficult to show. Well, that could be fun too, just like a couple. Of course, they won't stay, but that could be a fun idea too. So yeah, that's what I'm playing around in my head. Hey, welcome, welcome. We have another person in the chat. It's 3:45 a.m. in Australia right now. That's pretty late. That is pretty late. It's going good over here. We're working on a little ring, a little wire woven ring, something similar to this. It's cooking in the pickle right now to clean off the fire scale. So I'm gonna go check on that again. See if it's done now. Okay, if my pickle was hotter, it would be a little bit better, but it's good enough for now, and I have to pickle it again anyways later. So before I get this woven, I'm gonna hammer it a little bit, and I apologize for the noise. But essentially, I like thickening out some of the rounds, which gives it a little bit more dimension once it's woven together. And I'm using a chasing hammer for that. Okay, watch your ears. No, I don't think it's gonna be that bad, but still, beware. Gonna wake you up there in the middle of the night. And I'm only doing that to the curves that are coming outward, if that makes sense. I'm sure one of them is concave and one is convex, but I never know which one's which, so. There we go. And I'm noticing that the wire, probably from shaping, it's kind of twisting a little bit. So I'm trying to sort of keep it from doing that, which the hammering helps with too. Okay. All right, so here we go. This is going to be the base for the ring. And I'm going to be trying to sort of get some of these a little bit closer together. So right now it's wanting to spring apart, but as I weave, it'll be a little bit tighter. And yeah, so we'll start weaving here shortly. If I would leave the wire bare here with these hammered parts, I would sand this down a little bit, because you can see sort of some marks from my bench block and from my hammer. But since it's going to be woven over, it doesn't really matter. Might be about to make the easiest $50 of their life. Yeah, I know how that goes. It's always like when you're trying to make a deal and then they're not responding and you want to reach out again, but you don't want to bother them either. So I hear you. Okay. So I could, you know, continue futzing with this now, but I don't want to. I mean, I do, but I'm just going to go ahead and start weaving. And once I weave, things will change a little bit anyway. All right. This is really hard to see detail on the monitor, on the screen, so don't even try. I need to like figure out a better camera setup, but for now I only use my phone as the camera here, and that's what it can do. Okay. Alrighty. Well, I hope your client will be responding soon. Okay. The beginning is always a little bit annoying because I have nothing to hold on to, so I sort of have to weave almost backwards. Just what I'm doing, I'm kind of holding it. Technically I would normally work like this, but yeah, there's nothing for me to grip, so this is how I found it works best for me at the very beginning. I'm like, I had so many feelings reading through this sentence. I hope it's okay. I'm not going to say your name. I mean, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to read that out loud because that's just fantastic. The fact that I fully intend to spend the money I'm earning from feed pics for online microtransactions is exactly what's both right and wrong with my generation. Oh my God. As I was reading this, I was like, oh, what is going on? And then, wait, what? And then, oh my God, that's too funny. I love it. Thanks for sharing. Yes. Let's see. So this is, as I said, it's 30 gauge wire, so it's like super duper fine. So even I sometimes have to go like, oh, what am I doing? Where am I at? To make sure I see it right. And then I don't know if I mentioned, but the weaving pattern I'm using is called a figure 8 weave, which is really the only weave you can use on a distance. Like if you want to cover distance like this, it's pretty much the only thing you can do, and it's okay. It's also sometimes referred to as basket weave because it creates sort of that basket pattern. And if you've never come across my work before, you might not know, but I am normally someone who works with very clean lines and a lot of symmetry. So working on an organic piece that's sort of shaped like completely randomly is really weird for me. So it's an interesting kind of pushing out of my comfort zone that I'm doing right now with this style. Ooh, almost went the wrong way. Yeah, you know, I don't always love generational labels because it doesn't always work, but then again on other occasions it does work really well. So technically I'm a millennial, and I'm technically not even that close to the edge. I'm 86. I don't always feel comfortable being associated with millennials because it's not always really true. But then there's some occasions where I'm like, yep, that's totally me. So, you know, it's just sort of whatever. You can see why, and it's making things easier sometimes to label. It is true. Okay, so I'm starting to have enough to be able to hold on to this side. Just makes it a whole lot easier. And then I'm, because of that sharp bend that I have here, I'm running into the trouble that I'm basically not even in my weave. It's sort of slanted. So what I'm doing is I'm giving it an extra wrap around the top, but not the bottom, to sort of cover that distance. Yeah, exactly. I'm just right there on the like sort of cusp, as you say. Like I'm not quite this, I'm not quite that. But that's okay. It's nice because I get to choose sometimes which one. Not really. I'm too far off the, what is it, Gen Z? No, Gen Z comes after. Gen X? Gen Z? Oh God. I'm too far off the either end to really choose, but I choose anyway sometimes. Okay. And then you can use nylon jaw pliers to push the weave together and make it nice and tight. There we go. And then this type of pattern tends to want to move a lot, especially on sort of that downward slope. So using my fingernail to hold onto it so it doesn't slip off too far. And then I'm fully embracing that there's, I'm so bummed that you can't really see. I tried the other day putting on a macro lens so I can better show you. It works, I just can't work like this because I don't have enough space, but at least I can show you this way what it looks like. And you can see there's some gaps here, which I don't love. I like it when it's neat, nice and neat like that. But it's normal that the weaving part, that this weave kind of moves a little bit in the curves. It's okay. Gotta embrace it. Here. You create some spacing. It's nice. Yep. Here. That's the other one. Oh, and now maybe you'd be able to see the sizing. So it's using different weaving wire. I don't know. Here we go. So the oxidized finished one is a 30 gauge, and then this one's a 28 gauge weaving wire, and you can totally tell the difference. Makes this whole thing a little bit finer compared to this, but that's, you know, just depending on what style you choose. Take this back off before I get anybody dizzy. Oh, I forgot to turn on music. Do we want to hear some music? I can do some, you know, basic, royalty-free background streaming music. Let me do that just to cut through the quiet. Ooh. Thanks, Evac Alfie, for the offer. I just haven't put in the work. I have no money to pay you, so I think it's probably not worth trying to do that. I've just been keeping it simple, so it's fine. I'm happy with that for now, and I'll keep stuff moving as I have the time. I think this is my 5th stream, maybe 6th. I don't remember now. Sorry, I'm looking at, there it is, background music for us here. Anyway, I'm still early in my streaming and I'm not sure yet I'll keep doing it. This is an experiment, and I will keep things moving as I... Yeah, I know. Anyway, I'm keeping it basic until I've decided which direction this is going. Thanks for having my back. I was trying to be polite, but it's true, it's rude. I love it when people come into and it's like, oh, hey, I love your work. Well, by the way, I do the same thing. Do you want to see my stuff? And I'm like, well, what? Why don't you promote your own business on my outlet? But you know, I've been doing social media for so long now, and I have like close to 60,000 followers on Instagram, and the shit you get sometimes, it's just ridiculous. So this was, you know, asking nicely, I'd say. For the recording, there's been someone in the chat saying, hey, by the way, if you want me to, I can upgrade your streaming graphics. Can I send you my portfolio? And I'm like, you know, anyway, it was, the person asked nicely, but again, don't come on and try to sell stuff. It's not right. So as you can see, as I get sort of further down the road, it starts to come together because the weave is pulling it together, and that's sort of what I'm wanting to achieve. At the same time, I also want to keep an eye on it because I don't want it to get together too closely, because then I'll end up having it overlapping later, and that'll not be good either. So always kind of making sure my tension is even. How's the music volume? I just turned on some like easy piano music in the background. Is it loud enough? Too loud? Yeah, you're right, and that's true. And we support each other as crafters there, and that's perfectly fine. But I've had it that, like, I don't know, on a Pinterest post, I've had someone come on and say, hey, I love that. By the way, everyone, how about you go check out my small business and promote themselves in my comments? And I'm just like, that's not okay. Coming on a stream and chatting about it and then being excited about each other and hyping each other up is totally awesome. And that's exactly what these streams are for. But any form of like self-promotion on someone else's platform, just not cool, I think. Anywho. Yeah, just rude. I agree with that. It is just rude. And a little bit gross. I think other people find it gross too. I'd be turned off if I'd see that on someone else's page too. One of the things about this craft that I think people sometimes don't know, if they have no idea of the process, is it takes a long time. The weaving just takes time. And so sometimes that's hard to swallow because the prices reflect that, or should anyway. And you know, you gotta just remember this is a one-of-a-kind piece, and it takes a long time to make it. I mentioned early on in the stream that I started a new part-time job at a local store, and that store, it's sort of like a kind of like a, I don't want to call it a mall, but it's like a store that like carries many different brands, and they're all Danish, because I live in a Danish town in Solvang. And so essentially they have a bunch of higher end brands such as Pandora. Turns out Pandora is from Denmark. Didn't know that. And I've noticed, like, as I am in there selling Pandora jewelry, the pieces are very pretty. The materials are fairly simple. It's all sterling silver. The gold pieces are plated, not even filled, but plated sterling silver. And the stones are all cubic zirconia. They have some higher end pieces, but mostly that's irrelevant. And then a lot of their pieces are so dead cheap that sometimes I understand why people are so shocked when they see pieces of prices for handmade jewelry, and they're like, why is this so much more? And I start to understand where that sort of discrepancy comes from, and where people are like, why, what, why? Because they are so conditioned to mass production and pricing of mass production that it's just like they're not able to grasp why handmade is that much more expensive. And sometimes it's hard to convey that. Anyway, let's see. Yes, I did ask why you're fleeing for safety. That sounds really scary. I'm really sorry to hear that, and I'm hoping you will be better off in the bigger city. Here we go. It's so sad how intolerant people are towards things that they don't understand, or that they feel like it's different from them or their beliefs. It's like, why not just let other people be who and what they want to be, right? I feel like that's just... I take it the middle of Tasmania is pretty rural, right? It's sort of like the the probably like, I'm not gonna say these words. I'm I just had some choice words that I decided to swallow, but it's probably just a very, you know, rural area, right? The country. Oh wow, they live in the second biggest city in the state. That does not sound rural. Oh, I hadn't realized that. Wow, okay. So Tasmania as a whole is regarded sort of a little backwards overall. There's so many areas in the US that are like that as well. So, you know, I love it in California, but I don't know if I could live maybe on the other coast, but I don't know if I could live anywhere in the middle of the country. But yeah, no, I mean, I've grown up in Germany, and Germans tend to, especially the area I'm from the south, from southern Bavaria, Munich area, tends to be pretty intolerant about otherness as well. Anyway. So I'm starting to get really close to this first sort of intersection, and what I love about the way this weaving pattern looks when it gets close to, like, when they get closer together, I think it's just cool. See that? Almost like a corset a little bit. I think it's just fun how that sort of makes it just look slightly different. Anyway, so from here I'm gonna try and be a little bit more aware of my tension so that I don't start ending, so don't overlap them when I get there. And then yeah, we'll keep working our way through the end. And as you can see, I always use my nylon jaw pliers to push the weave together, but then I also give it a little squeeze like this to make it stay in place better. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but my base wires are sterling. But my weaving wire is fine silver. And the reason I use fine silver is because the fusing that I do to get these little granules to stick on top of it works better on fine silver. I go into this in other streams too, and I think once we're actually doing some fusing, I'll explain it in more detail too, but there's some interesting science behind fusing metals. Go ask Google about that. It's kind of fun little tangent to go on. So I keep pulling them apart because it's starting to get too tight, and I want to make sure I have enough space in there to get my wire through. Well, you know what? You do you. I don't judge. I have definitely had people on the internet comment on random things where you're like, wait, what? But you know what? If that works for you, that's awesome. Okay, I am almost through the tighter passage here, and I'm going to start reshaping this part a little bit before I continue, but I want to finish here. But yeah, as you see, it's sort of a constant shaping and making sure everything's the way you want it to be. But then on the other hand, at the same time, you also want it to let the wire do its thing. $50 is $50. Yeah, you're not gonna lose face on this one, right? See what I did there? Just, you know, make sure you stay safe, and then everything else is fine. We're talking about selling feet pictures, I believe. Make sure they don't scam you with some weird PayPal shit or whatever they tend to do. It's terribly scary what's out there. Today is a great it was just Labor Day weekend here in the US, so yesterday was a holiday. So my 3-year-old was home, and we had a great weekend. We had good fun. Did some fun family stuff, and some chores at home, and you know, it was good. But also 3 days nonstop with a toddler, exhausting. So she's back in school today, and my husband's at work. He works from home most days, but twice a week he drives to the office. So I'm all by myself with my dogs, and it's quiet, and I can just do whatever I want. It's really nice. Anyway. Quite was good that you have someone to help you with all that too. That's perfect. Just always good to be aware. I hope it'll work out for you. Yeah. So if not feet, what do you do otherwise? You mentioned you also do craft sometimes. What do you craft? So I'm starting to run into another situation where my weave starts to slant sideways. So I'm gonna add some extra wraps on the bottom wire to sort of keep up with that slant and make sure it stays straight. I don't want to do that too much and too often, but it's okay to sort of adjust occasionally. Okay, it's mostly caught up. I think I'm gonna do one more and then I'm gonna leave it. It was interesting. As I mentioned, this isn't my normal design style. When I posted this sample ring on my Instagram stories the other day and sort of had a poll out asking people how they liked it, I got a lot of mixed feelings, mixed messages from people. It was interesting because usually when I post about new stuff and ask like with a slider or something, or like what's your preference, this or that kind of thing, I usually get like a not very helpful answer because it's often like 50-50 or like all sort of in the middle where it's like, oh, I could go either way. With this one, it was very like, there was a lot of people who loved it and then a lot of people hated it. So it was like interesting to actually evoke some emotions, not just like either way is fine. Okay, let's see. Wow, there's a lot of things you do. Do you have like 48 hours in a day? So they're bouldering, which I think is a form of climbing. Hand sew, airbrush, swim, maybe even some snorkeling and free diving in the future. Write songs, poetry and short fiction, rollerblade, dance, and sing, play video games, and animate. Wow. You are never bored, I'm sure. That sounds like a lot of really fun things. I'm a mom and I run my own business and I now work part-time a day or two a week in a store. And my time's full now. No, I also play video games. What are your favorite video games? Like what's the style you do? I used to play much more before, frankly, I got married, but more so before I had a child. These days we've been playing Diablo 4 on the PlayStation because that's something my husband and I can do together in the evenings sitting on the couch. I used to play a lot of League of Legends, which was fun, but I can't do it anymore. The people there are just so rude and annoying and so yeah. I like to read. I'm reading a Stephen King right now, which is not usually what I read, but this one's actually supposed to be pretty good and so far has got me pretty hooked. It's Fairy Tale, Stephen King's Fairy Tale. Real good so far. I'm about not quite halfway through, but has me good hooked. Alright, going back to bouldering. Yes, it's a form of climbing that focuses on low technical climbs and typically uses no safety gear, maybe aside from a mat and a spotter. Okay. So I'm approaching another tight spot right there. So I'm gonna just open it up just a little bit so I have enough space to get my wire through. And I'm really trying not to pull. Generally speaking, if you're weaving with wire, you don't really want to pull much anyway. You want to fold rather than wrap, if that makes any sense. Like you sort of guiding the wire to go into the shape you want it to be, as in like you were to fold it around. You don't ever want to really pull. All right. Well, you know what? I feel like, especially if it's a hobby, you should not feel bad about the style of gameplay you do. Essentially, they're saying that they're a casual single player, and then some people might say that they're a bad gamer. And you know, I don't like the label, like a label like that. It seems silly to me. So my the way it's been sort of pulling, it's not gonna come out where I want it to come out. So I'm gonna give this a slightly larger bend just to get a little bit closer over here to where I want to be. And then I might have to alter the tip a little bit. There we go. Maybe even a little bit more. Let me see. Where's my pliers? Here we go. And I can change the final position of that later on again too, but I think this is pretty good. Yeah, there we go. So I'm about a little over halfway there. Yeah, I actually don't know either of those games. Ninjala and Brawlhalla. But you know what? In order to have fun, you don't need to be the best at something. I really don't think so. In fact, sometimes fun means you're not good at it, and then it's even more fun. Gotta just let go of that pressure sometimes. I'm actually realizing I'm starting to get a little hungry. It's 11:30 here now, so I'm probably gonna hop off in maybe like 15 minutes or so and grab some lunch and then come back later. I might just finish the weave at this point. How long have I been on? 1 hour 14? That's right. They're saying that playing video games for enjoyment, people seem to think that automatically means they're bad at playing. And in the chat they're saying I can prove them wrong. I've placed global top 10 in multiple things, and they're saying they've also had some potential esports positions and stuff, but they just like to be a casual gamer rather than a professional gamer. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I am a casual gamer. It doesn't mean I'm bad, but in my case might also not mean that I'm very good, but it doesn't matter. I don't care. You might notice that I've switched my positioning a little bit from like left to right to sort of sideways, which when I go moving sort of down slope, I find it a little bit easier to hold this way. Some people always work this way, and even with other weaves too. You know, it's just sort of personal preference. And it makes it easier for me to, what I basically do is I hold the weave with my finger in the back a little bit so that it doesn't move so much. And it's easier to hold this way. And it's also a little bit about experience, you know, experience and personal preference. Some people have been asking about streaming schedule, and Twitch very much wants you to put it on the calendar, and I'm struggling a little bit with that right now because it's not part of my routine yet, but I'm trying. But then also with the new job, I'm just not sure how things play out these days. It's most likely that it's a good chance that I'll come back on after lunch today and do another session. And then there's a good chance that I won't be on again until Friday. I might pop in tomorrow morning, depending on how things go. But I'm working on Thursday. And yeah, and then tomorrow afternoon I have to run some errands, so it's gonna be probably Friday again. And then maybe Thursday night. I've been wanting to try an evening stream, but evenings, as I said, are kind of difficult. My husband plays video games with his friends once a week, so I'm thinking when he does that. But also I tend to be pretty tired in the evenings, and then I don't want to engage like this, so I don't know yet. Let's see. For today, as I said, I'm gonna finish this weave here, and then I'm gonna have lunch, and then I might come back and we'll finish the ring together, and then decide either what we want to do next or what we want to do with this one and how it turns out. It's definitely, I can already tell it's longer than this one, than that first one, which is good. Give me a bigger size so I can wear it on my index finger. There's a Society of Barefoot Living. I love it. I can see how someone who likes feet would be lurking around on the Facebook page of the Society for Barefoot Living. Okay. That last tight spot in the weave. And yeah, I'm almost done. It's one's indeed a little too tight. In theory, I could even add a stone or small stone onto this. So that's something to consider. I don't know if I want to, but I could. I've been really, as I said lately, I've been really enjoying just the bare metal. Okay. And then I've also been working on mixing colors a little bit. So I'm just using brass, which gives me a nice gold color, to add into some pieces, which has been fun too. So, you know. All right, we're almost there. So close. Okay. Oop. I tend to be like at the very end, I'm like, oh, I'm almost done, and then I tend to speed up and get a little sloppy, so I'm gotta slow myself down. Okay. Almost there. So now these two are actually tad too far apart for me, so I'm gonna try and pull them together a little bit. So I want to end the weave right there, so it's easier if they're close together. There we go. All right. Final few. Okay. And then we will end the weave. I'm just looking where my weaving wires lie so I know which side I want to end the weave. Mostly because with a ring you want to make sure you don't have the ends like pointing onto the finger. It's that they don't usually get pokey, but they could. So I try to have the ends sort of hidden but not towards the finger. I'll show that later, but yeah, the weave is done. Definitely would look fun as a bracelet too. Maybe a little bit thicker base gauge. But yeah, should we shape it real quick just to see how it turns out? Let me move this up so it's easier to see. And then I'm gonna, I always shape smaller than I want to end up because it springs open. So we're gonna go with an 8, maybe an 8.5 here. Oh yeah, well that was way too long. Definitely way too long. All right, well we're one too short, one too long. It's okay. Actually, let's do it. And I'm using a nylon hammer. Ouch. That helps me both. I would not normally lay it down like this, but I don't know how else to hold it right now for you. But this helps me, first of all, get it into shape, but then also sort of lock it into that shape so that it stays. And it hardens the wire a little bit, the metal. Makes the ring more sturdy. Yeah, this is way bigger than I intended it to be. Okay, but I definitely know now which way to go. Okay, let's finish off the ends, and then I think I'm gonna make it just a tad smaller. So what I like to try to do is I like to point the ends downwards, but don't put them all the way down. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm gonna show you when I'm done what that looks like. let me show you what I meant by that. So, see how there's no wire end visible now? That was my goal. But I also don't want the wire end to be ending directly onto the finger, so there's nothing here. So it sort of ends. Come on. Focus. There it is, right there. It sort of ends like halfway down that wire, if that makes sense. And that's a good spot for it to be. And I did the same thing here. And here's the ring. I'm definitely going to shape this a little bit more so this is like not sticking out but flat against the finger, because otherwise it's so easy to get stuck on. Here, let me take this back off. There you go. It's funny how I went from too small to way too big. That's okay. That's why I'm doing these sort of prototypes, so I can then figure out where that middle path is. Unfortunately, dumbly enough, I didn't write down how long of a length I did there. So that's a bummer. When you're hammering weaving, I'm gonna do this like against my desk, but when you're hammering weaving wire or a weave, you're gonna want to be really careful. Sorry for the noise. Because you don't want to break your weave. So now that end here is being really stubborn. It's still sort of sticking out. So you can always use your pliers and kind of bend it a little bit more inwards. So now what I do with these is it's actually fun on the thumb. So I oxidize them and then I put them in a rotary tumbler with steel shot to polish. And what that will do is will also harden the metal, which means it'll not be like easily bendable anymore. But yeah, this is definitely way bigger than I wanted it to be. It's kind of funny. And it's something that's always a little difficult with rings, is to figure that out. I wanted it to be only slightly larger than that. Anyway. It's still pretty fun. So yeah, that's it for right now. And I might just make another one this afternoon, or maybe we'll make some earrings. I don't know yet. Thanks for tuning in. It was super fun chatting with you, Total Sapphic Panic, and I'm hoping to see you again sometime. Thanks, everyone. Bye.